Hey guys, Ron here, and nothing's perfect. There are some Pokemon that don't look so good. Here are the Pokemon that I believe have the worst designs in the franchise. Number 10. The Saiga Antelope. So you'll notice that a lot of the Pokemon on this list are going to be from Generation 9. I gotta admit, the graphics of the new games are amazing. It's honestly stunning, but Game Freak really dropped the ball when it comes to the Pokemon designs of the new gen. A good example of that is Saiga. They're pretty much antelope Pokemon, but with huge noses that look awful. They serve a purpose, so Saigas are low on the list, but just because they regulate temperature and attract mates doesn't mean they don't look ugly. But people really seem to be annoyed by the fact that it's not the evolved form of the DickCP Antelope. Game Freak didn't learn from the whole Love Disc and Alomomola situation and basically forgot to give DickCP an evolution, passing on a good opportunity to finally give it one. It's cute and all, but its stats sucked, and it would have been great if Saiga ended up being its evolution, but it ain't. So overall, a disappointing Pokemon, but not the worst here. Number 9. The Proboscis Monkey. Now this is the last nose-related design, I swear, but what sucks is that the only reason this new mon has a big nose is to attract mates, but it doesn't look handsome. Worst of all, they just slapped webbed feet on this guy and made him a water type. Simipour is already my least favorite water type Pokemon, and they went and made another terrible water type monkey? I don't get Game Freak's obsession with water monkeys. I do like how its ability is related to its nose. It amplifies sound-based moves, which makes sense since the sound would resonate within its nose, but hey, they could have made it at least a bit more attractive. The female is fine though. Number 8. Pink Fairy Armadillo. I'm fine with its ground fairy typing and it's super cute, but we've been asking for an armadillo Pokemon for years, and now that we have one, it's a letdown. It has too many bands, which, while they allow it to be more flexible, makes it super hard to roll into a ball, like a 3-banded armadillo, and it isn't as powerful as a giant armadillo. On Twitter, James Turner even insinuated that they just slapped a fairy type on this little dude because they lacked fairy type Pokemon in the new region. So we could have originally had a roly guy, but ended up with a flat armadillo. What's worse is that its pink armor attracts predators, so it mostly lives underground. What's the point of having an armadillo Pokemon then? Hopefully they give it an evolution in the next gen. They've given us a satisfying amount lately. Number 7. Water Deer. Again with Game Freak adding water to an animal that isn't really associated with water, but it's the design that we're focusing on today. It's a deer with tusks. I couldn't have made this up if I tried. I wouldn't even want to. Which designer at Game Freak thought this was a good idea? No antlers even. You know, the things that deer use to attack and defend? Instead, they have measly fangs that don't do much, way more inferior than antlers. It's assumed that this is a primitive version of normal deer before they evolved to grow antlers. Doesn't excuse the laziness present in this design. Number 6. Echidnas. It's a cool Pokemon, no doubt, so overall I like it, but when I'm trying to be objective, this design doesn't follow any rules. It's like Game Freak just combined 3 separate animals to make an echidna. A hedgehog anteater that lays eggs? That's just too much, man. Why go overboard? Its design and even concept has too much going on. It's filled with contradictions. Number 5. Gerenuk. The male's okay, but female Gerenuks are frankly creepy. Their proportions are totally whack and uncanny. You'd think a small head would be cute, but when it's attached to such a long, flimsy neck that probably can't support the weight of the wide head, it looks unnatural. And that's the #1 mistake in Pokemon with bad designs. They look unnatural, and any appealing trait they had is thrown out the window because they make you feel uncomfortable. Just like Unpheasant, at least the male exists. The horns distribute more proportion to the head, so it doesn't look lopsided. Plus their necks are thicker. Number 4. Babirusa. This thing's worse than Gramble. While Gramble's tusks are covered with skin, this guy's tusks penetrate its skin. For no reason whatsoever. It doesn't give any evolutionary advantage, and you know me, a Pokemon design that makes it look like the Pokemon is in pain is an automatic dislike. Competitive battlers love it because it's useful in the meta, but it's another example of the divide between them and casual players, because who cares if it's useful when you feel sorry for it every time you look at this poor thing. Number 3. Eye. This is the only animal so far that I would say is completely ugly. I like nothing about its appearance. It sucks because there are some really cute tiny primates out there, but what were they thinking with this? Fine, its face is abhorrent, but did it also need to have the most demonic fingers in the entire Pokedex? They're useful in the wild, sure, but it could have easily had a long tongue instead, if it really needed to eat the bugs hidden in trees. I'm surprised it's not a dark type considering how it looks. It's objectively the worst looking lemur Pokemon we have. Number 2. Giant soft-shell turtle. We have a turtle without a hard shell. That's like an elephant without a trunk, a giraffe without a neck, a tiger without its stripes. Did Game Freak actually believe that taking out the entire reason an animal is so cool would make us interested in using one? Sure, it's faster than the other turtles, but I'm not looking for a notoriously slow Pokemon with a higher speed stat. Making a slow Pokemon fast still makes it average, and it's not worth sacrificing the one thing that makes it cool. Before we head to number 1, here are 2 honorable or dishonorable mentions. Blobfish. Yeah, it's ugly, but that's the point. I find it endearing. A lot of the times, if a Pokemon intentionally doesn't look good, that's a sign that it may not be a bad design. The whole point of a blobfish is to feel sorry for it. Doesn't mean it's fun to look at, especially since in its deep sea form, it kinda looks normal. The same goes for the Goblin Shark. Its ability is Intimidate, and as its name implies, it's part Goblin. It's a water dark type that lives in dark water. It's here mostly because people dislike its appearance, and I want to mention how it's not as bad as it seems. But number 1 on this list truly should have been cut from the game. The red-lipped batfish. You know how much I hate designs that are meant to look attractive but come off as awkward. It walks on the ocean floor and lures in other fish, and the red lips are just there to look pretty, but it makes it worse. Why not give it bright colors or actually make it cute or something? If the whole point of a Pokemon is to be alluring, why is it so ugly? This thing is an abomination, and you should feel bad if this is your favorite Gen 9 Pokemon. But it's alright, cause this is just an April Fool's video. I mean, obviously, but that doesn't mean there isn't a message. There are a bunch of Pokemon that have misunderstood design traits and are therefore deemed lazy or terrible designs, when in reality, there's a very good reason for its appearance, even if it purposely looks bad. Just like a lot of the real-world animals I showed you today. Every animal has a reason for existing, and so do Pokemon. I was generally being sarcastic. I actually enjoy some of these animals. It would be ridiculous to believe that they're worthless just because of how they look. Now, my usual content isn't like this. Not only do I rarely make top 10s anymore, but there are usually actual Pokemon in the videos. So check them out and leave a like if you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't, because the next video is pretty wholesome, not gonna lie. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and or Instagram. Just check the description in general, and I'll see you guys very soon.